Hello and welcome to another optional extra video. I'm Mitch, your host as always, and joining me is a very special guest, Albert from Interactive Artistry. Welcome.
How you doing, buddy? What's up? It's me. And I've spoken to one of your awesome team members, Russell, on my show. You guys are amazing. I've been quite free in expressing my affability and support for you guys. Love the dynamic, love the team, love the name, and I see big things for you guys going forward. So it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, good to have you. So basically what we're going to do is some kind of little interview thing. Going to be pretty casual, so I guess it's a conversation. Either way.
Yep.
So
that's usually that's the another way of describing a conversation. It's like a thing where we exchange words and it's a bit casual.
And it comes down to something.
A conversation. I like it, man.
So just, who are you? Like, what's an interactive artistry?
So an interactive artistry is a work that is expressed in the interactive medium or the interactive art form, which is games. And it is, I think all games in their own way are a form of interactive artistry because 10 to 1, there's going to be someone on a team who is a creative and who maybe not call themselves an artist, because like 9.5 out of all artists, 9.5 out of 10 artists are incredibly humble to a fault and don't call themselves artists. But yes, big shock, people who make these games are artists, and often I would even say that's an element of interactive artistry. And I know I'm going there, but just so we get out of the way, in something like Candy Crush, in something like Flappy Bird or whatever, like for me, it's I have this approach where I know firmly what I believe interactive artistry is, and then it's also about finding out like what other people consider. Like someone spending hours on end in GTA may be their form of expressing some kind of form of, like, artistry implies creativity, implies being able to express yourself, and GTA is one of those platforms that allows you to do that. And so then I wouldn't be able to discount someone's view of interactive artistry if that was what they believed. However, for me personally, I find titles like Journey, Ico, and the upcoming Vane in 3 days. I want to see if you guys do anything with that.
3 days.
Yeah.
I've not been paying attention to that. Not enough attention,
right.
Anyway.
Exactly. So also Sky and Bound as well. All these sort of, I suppose you see these monosyllabic and like mono word titles, but Abzu as well by Giant Squid, Matt Nava.
Yeah.
And so that's for me, like, and we were discussing in the pre-show about how long it takes to sort of realize what something means, because I remember coming up with that name and that felt right to me. And previously I had a thing going where I'd call myself Tweedy Gamer, right? Because I was like, well, tweediness is a way for me to express that I am just a little bit off kilter in terms of my approach and my engagement to the medium, because I don't consider myself like a gamer, like overtly, that I I play them, but it's not something that I do every day. And I think primarily I absolutely enjoy and celebrate and showcase their artistic qualities, their especially the development teams, who not nearly enough, like echoing what Greg Miller said. I almost called him Game Over Greggy, but yeah. So he said that
Both
at the
get you there.
2014 or 2015 Game Awards, he sort of espoused and made sure to take a moment to thank all the people, because it is to this day, and I don't think that'll ever really shift unless we suddenly overnight have it so that, as I really dearly want it to happen, I want every single games developer to just get a Hideo Kojima sized oomph to their self-esteem and to their rock star, because everyone a fucking texture. Excuse me, are we swearing on the show?
You say whatever you like.
Okay. A fucking texture artist working on Red Dead Redemption, that's a rock star to me. Like, no pun intended, just because I chose, that was a random choice.
That really went well.
Yeah, that really went well in terms of a random game to choose. But so yeah, these people who spend hours, countless hours, and there is this, you hear it from Kotaku, Jason Schreier, there is this the dark secret of the games industry is crunch culture. And for me, nothing says like actual hero, not just for the production, but for these people's families, who they spend so many hours and hours away from family investing in this stuff, like unpaid hours. It's really is the dark secret of the industry. I hope a union sort of thing happens soon with that. So, and for me, someone, for lack of a better word, suffers for their art. Like they, in many ways, a lot of the artists we hold up as the greats, they suffered a lot to create what they do. So that's essentially what an interactive artistry is. It's an expression of an individual. Sometimes it's one people teams, sometimes it's whole hundreds of people creating something in this. I believe it to be the most, I'd love to get your thought on that, actually. I believe it's one of the most effective and most sincere forms of artistry, because just like life, I say this, it's one of my refrains, is that among all the art forms, the only one that really actually where to be what it is like requires your engagement and participation. The only thing like close to that the only thing that approximates that factor of like that's what real life is, among all the art forms, the only thing that really comes close is games, which makes that extremely special. And like Neil Druckmann, director of The Last of Us, he said that connection of you having agency and you being there as the person experiencing what they're feeling, that is something that can be leveraged to produce the most deepest affecting human drama, existential drama, comedies, adventures. Every genre has this depth that can now be reached because of that connection to like what it means to be human. So there you go. Yeah, that was very long-winded. Sorry.
Well, I'll let you just say everything you need to say. And like, as far as video games go, is like, I do believe they're the best interactive art form, as you put it, because there's just something video games can do that a movie, you're not in it. You're not in the movie. You're not in control of the main character in the movie. But in a video game, you're that character. You are shifting the narrative to where you as a person want this to go, if the game allows it, of course. So like BioWare, very much so, always let you do it the way you wanted to do it, which is really, I think the only thing that's come close is really that Black Mirror episode that is now on Netflix.
Bandersnatch.
I haven't seen it yet, but just the way they've gone about it is fascinating to me.
I think, definitely watch it, man, if you got a Netflix, and make sure you're watching it on a newish kind of setup. Maybe you're on your phone or laptop. If you have an older TV for some reason.
My TV's good.
Oh, yeah, you're good? Yeah. Oh, he's killing it, Mr. Russ. Yeah. Mr. Russ. Mitch. I'm getting you two confused. Is it just you two on the team?
No, there's a friend of mine, Jordan, who's also part of it.
Okay, so, nice.
I'm basically in charge. I am in charge. I'm the boss.
My man.
I'm the big boss.
There you go. The Mitchell, yes. I'm going to find a way to remember each of you. So Jordan, Mitchell, and Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that you each have different
names.
It's good that you each have different names. But also, a little bit of trivia. Ready at Dawn Studios, they named themselves based on that. So they didn't know what to name their studio. These are the guys who made Devolvers and also little game, one of my favorites of all time, Come At Me, the Order 1886.
I haven't played it, actually.
For sure. I could really take, I don't know if you can see it there in the background. It's the vignette of Galahad against the Elder Lycan.
Yeah, you can kind of see it, yeah.
Like an explosion coming out.
Yeah.
So they had three founders. So one is Ru Wirasuria, who's the director. The other is Andrea Pacino. So that's R.A. And then I always forget the D guy's name because the D guy, he left. Can't remember. So Damien, I think. So if you guys ever start a studio, and they were like, oh, RAD. Okay, RAD is cool, but what does it stand for? And then they came up with Ready at Dawn.
That's cool. Yeah, it's actually a good way to make it. It's just like Optional Extra is just a joke about that. Like, we're just an optional extra video game channel. It actually started as extra optional. Like,
extra optional.
That sounds weird. Let's flip it. So I've done all the logos and stuff.
Flows from the tongue. This is why I envy you, because as I was saying, you guys struck that same vein of nomenclature magic as Kind of Funny, where Kind of Funny is a parlance. It was said for many, many years. It's like you look in a movie from the 60s or 70s or 50s, you'll hear Humphrey Bogart say, that's kind of funny. And in terms of relationship with with games, optional extra, that's been in like video game guides since the 70s and 80s. I was like, an optional extra is to do this. So you've made that your own now, and it's just obscure enough to make it so that you can go and grab all the accounts, do that whole. I learned this in uni. It's called digital date copyright holding. It's like, yes, on that day you created the name, you opened that Twitter account, it's yours. So envy, because mine is a mouthful. Interactive artistry. But I do like that it has seven syllables, because 7's my favorite number. So
that's Bungie's favorite number too.
Oh, there you go. Optional extra. 5 is also my second. I have 3. 7, 5, and 3 are my favorite numbers. So you guys have 5 optional extra. I like it.
Mate,
anyway, are we getting off chat?
Just a little bit. So I'm going to push us on to where did gaming start? Or whatever you want to call it. When did that become something you knew was the interactive art form? Something you really wanted to get into? What was the first real game that maybe pushed that, or where did gaming start for you, really?
I had 3 awakenings, Mitch. Let me tell you about them. So the first one is, when you and I were kids, we had that just unconscious, you're drawn to the medium for reasons that now as adults we have to give words to things, articulate things, express them in certain ways that fit in sentences. But the further back in your life you go, the less explanations are needed, the more...
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I keep the inner child alive, because you don't want to lose your intuitive connection with things. So and then I'll tell you about the other 2 awakenings later. So the first one for me, I think, would have to have been Ghouls and Ghosts. Was the first, in the ether of Albert thinking of games, that name crystallized. And I remember my mom played it, so she liked games, and pen and paper. So I had a 70s 80s fantasy loving mom, so she was one of those cool people with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. But I think my main kind of bulk kind of era of games was in Italy. I lived there for a year and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little bit over that. Yeah.
Nice.
Between the 1 and 2 year period, I think. And I played Medieval. It was on rotation. I played Banjo-Kazooie. These were just regularly playing these.
Good choices though.
That's right. And Soul Reaver as well. And then a mixture of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. So that was era 1, and that was sort of my smoothie, if you will, of video game influences. And I learnt a whole bunch of English, actually, just vocabulary improvement by playing games like Final Fantasy 9, which had a bit of medieval speak that dipped into sort of Shakespearean words as well. So did you have that as well, with some games that actually helped you with vocabulary?
I would say Pokemon. Pokemon Blue was the first real video game I played on my Game Boy. So that had a lot of words I didn't know how to say, facade. I called facade. I was that sounds a damaging move. It's I don't know how to pronounce it. And then there's all these strange words I would have never picked up anywhere else. But yeah,
Soul Reaver was big for that for me. It was beautiful. Shout out to Amy Hennig. I'm actually gonna give her a little hand here. Because I cannot wait to see what that woman creates next. She's such a legend to me.
She never got to make the Star Wars game she was on. But...
Yes. Oh, we can we can vent on that later.
We'll get to that.
But we will get Fallen Order, at least the glimpse. Hopefully, the release this year. So we can talk about that later. But so and I played also Metal Gear Solid was huge for me back then.
There's a quick thing. I have never played Metal.
Do not make me leave. I'm going to leave. I'm taking this headphones off. I'm kidding.
It's something that I keep hearing about Kojima as this I don't know who this man is, but all this stuff he keeps making sounds really cool. And it's because I grew up with Nintendo and then I went to Xbox. So I flat out missed PlayStation.
Oh, skipped. That's cool. And I won't I was doing a bit of over dramatization there, or over dramatization. I think
I think you got it.
Yeah. All I would say, dude, is you're pretty savvy with your emulators, aren't you? You got
some could say that is the case.
Yes. Well, if you do have an old PS1 lying around, or just grab an emulator.
PS1 Classic has Metal Gear Solid.
PS1 Classic. If you have a PS3 somewhere to hook that up and grab the collection, you can download it from the PS3 store. I'm sure maybe. Do it, man.
It's definitely it's just we started recently streaming, and I'm just thinking.
If I PayPal you 10 of the dollars that it would cost, would you do it? If I subsidize?
I think I actually own it on my PS3, so
okay.
So I could actually start playing that, but yeah, continue. Just thought I would share
of course.
Something.
That's cool. That's great. So that was a big one for me, but also at the same time as playing Metal Gear Solid, I visibly and whatever, just remember playing Pokemon at the same time. So I was playing Pokemon Red and Yellow at the same time as playing Metal Gear Solid. So it was just this big mix. It was never, some people describe it as like, I played that game endlessly, So that was in Italy. And then I shifted to Ocarina of Time, which was just, here in Canberra, we have a suburb called Curtin. And I spent some time there, and we had like a big pine tree in front of our house. I was like, that's the Deku tree. I'm Link, So I really made an impression. But you were you after one game? Are you going to put this decision on me? Are you going to make this? You got me backed up on a ledge. I have to say one title.
No, you can say as many titles as you want. Games that really influence you. I think I've got about 3 main other games that really influence me. So
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So influential. Yeah.
Yeah. Ones that they made you who you were. Really, like games have the potential to do that.
Hugely. Definitely. And then, going into the early 2000s for me, like Final Fantasy X, I think it was the first game that made me cry, definitely. Like the whole thing about the sacrifice. I think the sacrifice themes, I'm watching Joseph Campbell on Netflix. It's highly recommended, dude. He's a mythologist, and you've maybe heard his name spoken about in the context of Star Wars and just the monomyth, and that game company discussed them with Journey as well, the idea of the single hero across different cultures. And so Titus's story is very much a monolithic story, because he has a moment of it's a chapter in the hero's story, which is the refusal of the call, right? And he refuses, like he's frightened, and he's like a scared young boy at the start, and he has the mentor figure, which is, I'm getting goosebumps now, you can maybe see them, because it's perfect. It's because it's maybe the first time I've intuitively, I don't know if you find this when you're talking with someone about something you love, you tend to just make these connections in the moment, and like, oh wow, I never thought about that, and it's just because I'm being asked that question by an awesome kindred person like Mitch. Auron's the Obi-Wan figure, and
he is, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes, and then there's a chapter in The Hero of a Thousand Faces called The Belly of the Whale, and there's Sin as one of the characters, and the elements very elemental, and he goes from, it's very much Campbellian, because he's going to different sacred sites to draw out sacred power from the gods, literally, and on each one it's like an odyssey. It's tough, man. Well, let's do this right now. Without even thinking, what's your favorite Final Fantasy? Go.
See, I think it's Final Fantasy. God, I just froze up then. I think Final Fantasy 7. I think, to be honest, Final Fantasy, I had never really played when I was younger, but a few years ago, I just started getting really into Japanese games that I hadn't really done in the past, which I could thank Bloodborne for that. But
I love Bloodborne. We have to talk about that. If I ever get back on the show, it'd be really cool to talk about Bloodborne, man. And Sekiro. I saw your background. I saw that. You got to talk about that. It looks really good.
It's always gonna be From Software is just hugely influential. But back on Final Fantasy, I think.
Yes.
I don't know, Final Fantasy 7. Playing it when I did, the graphics looked awful, but I think it's
This could be your year though, because we're 1,000% going to see more after. It's great because we're going to have Kingdom Hearts in a few weeks. This January, which is insane. 13 years to the day from the Kingdom Hearts 2. I know, right? Organization 13. But there's a reason why I think they're releasing it now is so that the rest of the year is just going to be Square Enix Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I can see it in my mind's eye, man. I see visions of optional extra, just freaking Mitchell's gonna go nuts on just the video title, optional extra, how I fell back in love with Final Fantasy VII through this remake, which I have such good feelings about, man. I think they're gonna take what they did with 14, dude. Final Fantasy VII remake. Sometimes my vowels just take a fucking holiday. Remarkable. It's going to sneak up on people, dude, because people right now, they're in this space of 15, good game, and some people had some issues with it, but good game. People don't understand. So right now, there's Final Fantasy 15 2.0 being made. through Final Fantasy VII Remake. So they're going to do this thing where it's going to be open world. It's going to tap into, you saw some of the gameplay. It's going to freaking blow people out of the water. And I'm all for the episodic. Are you kidding me? I freaking had to push disc after disc, that's fine. Do it a set of 4, that's fine with me. Some people catastrophize, don't they, Mitch?
As long as we get it, like, eventually, like, they can take their time. I want them to make it as good as they can possibly make it.
Absolutely.
And just, like, when we get it, we'll all be blown away by how good it is, not thinking, like, if they spent more time on it, it could have been better. I think gamers as a whole get pretty impatient. We just want that next thing now.
I know.
And we don't want to wait. Right. And
it makes me happy that someone of your age, which I'm 30 or 20 something,
25,
has that sense of being having that sense of checking your expectations and your privileges. And I quite like it because, as I said, there's outrage culture, there's catastrophization culture, and it's fucking exhausting, especially for an introvert. I don't know if maybe some of the folks out there listening know what I'm talking about. It's for folks like Mitch, especially, like, the why I like it is because the younger generations are growing up with instant gratification, literally Instagram, everything's instant. So when someone like yourself with your age can cultivate a sense of patience and perspective and the sense of savoring something, and appreciating, it's like, oh my God, that's music to my ears. That heals at least 20 to 30% of my constant state of existential jadedness at all times. So thank you for exemplifying that, Mitch.
No worries.
All right, so those are my games. Next question.
Next question. I'm not that. We've gone through the game's influence. Like, I brought up like Bloodborne and that. That was an interesting one. Get to that a bit later, but I think the biggest two was Halo Combat Evolved and World of Warcraft. To me,
I feel bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you. I sorry. I thought it was going to be a question. But no, go ahead. And we need to talk about Bloodborne, but tell me more about Halo. Did you like Halo Reach?
I think Halo Reach may be the best story in Halo. Because how it sets it up is that you know exactly what's going to happen. Wait till you get back.
Indeed. What are we looking at here? What do we got here?
Statue I also own.
Oh, that's it.
That's
beautiful.
I have that in my room.
Beautiful. For your listeners. Amazing.
You just picked up the Halo Reach statue.
Exactly. Who's your favorite member of Noble?
That's a good question. I think the commander. God, I know his name. Carter.
Oh, yeah?
Although I like Emil. I like his skull on his helmet. And
dude, it's Emil all the way, and I will fight anyone who disagrees. Actually, Jorge is pretty good. Is it Jorge or George?
I think it's George. I thought it was. Yeah. That was actually the thing I love about Reach is that there is a sense of we know what's going to happen. We know the UNSC. We know we lose Reach. But how we go about that, it creates sets up this awesome moment where you think it's oh, they've done something incredible, and it's just diminished by just straight
Mitch, don't make me cry. I know I say I'm jaded, but there are certain things that just they tunnel their way. They have an open, unbarred passage straight to my heart, and Reach's story. That sense, it's a bit in the film Titanic. It's going to
sink.
Yeah, and it's all the more bittersweet and emotional for each of those people. Again, goosebumps. Wow, unexpectedly emotional episode of Optional Extra. No, I love Reach, man. Absolutely. So would you say, should we name limit ourselves to 10? So you're at Bloodborne, you're at Halo Reach. What else?
10's a lot. But yeah, I could talk about Reach forever, to be honest. Just
it's great.
How it sets stuff up. I think, that was... Yeah, because I recently played through all the Halos for a future project that might be a retrospective.
Oh my God. Hint, hint, hint.
Not really hint, kind of a direct admission. It's all there.
Literally,
put it together.
There's nothing hinting about that. That's just the podcast equivalent of a headbutt, basically.
Yeah, so got that in the pipeline. So
yes,
for that. So the other big game that I think hit me, influenced me even now was World of Warcraft. There's not a game that has for me changed. That's why I love gaming. That shit was the biggest shift to video games I'd ever seen, where I went into this world that I'd never known about. I hadn't played Warcraft before that. And this is just walking through Azeroth, this whole world they created as this troll hunter, and just going I'm in awe of what Blizzard have done. They've created another world to live in. Like,
that's great.
Like, and even like real life stuff. I've still got friends from World of Warcraft. There was a friend of mine I met in the first week of playing. I still play games and talk to him today. So I started that at 11 years old. I'm 25 now, still friends. So this
Shut the hell up. That's incredible. What the hell? You should get them on the show. I'll just turn the light on 1 second. Definitely. There we go. A bit easier for the folks. Yeah, nice. No, that's wonderful, man. And I remember, it's funny, a lot of, like you said, like there are people like yourself, man, like that grew up with World of Warcraft, and that's wonderful, man. I like that. I never got so much into I think it was mostly budgetary. I just didn't have a PC that ran like well enough to run it. But it makes me happy though. It makes me happy when I hear about people who like have stayed friends and that like met as well, via that world. And okay, let's get out of the way. What did you think of the movie? And keep in mind, like, I love movies for way more reasons than just like the overall. I can really love a targeted aspect of a movie, and for me, ILM and hearing what's his name, what's the Blizzard guy?
That's the guy. Chris Metzen.
Chris Metzen. Yeah, he was sitting there on that stage, BlizzCon 2014, I think. Yeah, talking with Duncan Jones, who, by the way, legendary director. He directed Moon and happens to be David Bowie's son, which is great.
Yeah, it's just legendary status automatically.
Incredible. But definitely struck out on his own, doing his own thing under his own name, Duncan Jones. And he's like, yeah, while Dad was touring, I kind of had to make friends, and I made friends online and through this. And I heard this passion, both of them speaking, and I was so amped for it. And again, the movie came out and it was what it was, but I can point to certain aspects of that film and just really celebrate them. And the visual effects, obviously, some of the world building is beautiful, the execution. But I think it was more of a movie I think it's going to be a cult movie. What do you reckon, man?
I think there's a lot of things, like, I think they're all right with it, but I think as someone who has spent so much of my life playing that world, that lore, that story, like, seeing, I guess, Stormwind in real, like, CGI, like, making it look so real was just, like, eye-opening. As much as I play the Horde, which, we want to burn that place to the ground, but, like...
Yeah, oh, goddamn.
But seeing that, like, done in that, like, I was just blown away by so much about that movie, just because I just know, like, all the lore, I know everything about it, and just going through it. There are things about it I wish they did do, which they kind of... And I don't think I'm ever going to get now, which is...
I know, it's sad.
Warcraft 3 Story of Arthas, that was my dream video game movie. I don't think I'm getting
Warcraft, sadly, its effect, the success or, non-success that it had, sadly. On one respect, again, there's so much more to a film than its financial success, because, again, things can have merit beyond that. And, the order 1886, but yeah, it, like, there was a Magic the Gathering movie being made, Mitch.
Oh yeah, wow.
In development, and like, you grew up with WoW, I grew up with Magic the Gathering.
A friend of mine loves Magic the Gathering.
I
hear about it all the time.
Such a lore head as well, so that was me. And so the performance of Warcraft, I know that it influenced that, and we, not surprisingly, haven't heard anything from that. But anyway, I realize I interrupted you. Please continue about Warcraft, man.
Forget where I was at.
That's all right. You were basically saying, like, it was eye-opening for you.
It's just like Warcraft. When I heard, like, because it's called the Murloc, like, they're known. Wow, they make this, like, I'm not even going to try and imitate that noise, so don't. So don't expect that. But, like, they just randomly went past a river and made that noise, and then past the audience clapped, and just going like, what is this? What is this thing?
That's wonderful. I think, as much as I haven't spent as much time in that world itself, like, whenever I see, like, playthroughs, or I've thrown on just, like, a playthrough of it, and I think one thing it gets really probably better than any other MMO is the feeling of, like, coziness. Like, I know it's, like, out there, you're exploring, you're fighting, but for me, even better than something like Skyrim, which Skyrim it was just a palette choice. They just chose to make it very stark, and even in, like, very cozy places, it's not as vibrant. And with Warcraft, there are certain places that you just want to hang out there. There's, like, roaring fireplace and everyone talking. It's just really nice. So
yeah,
I quite like it.
Yeah, I won't talk about the current game because I have a lot of things.
I know. Yes, please. Yes, yeah. You lead the way. Master Mitch.
No, I'll avoid talking about that. Let's just say I'm not too happy with the direction Blizzard's been taking it. But even then, with the story, like, and all that, the lands they make, like the land masses you go to, the islands, it also looks so good. But yeah,
it's here to stay. Oh, like Warcraft
stay.
It's got a massive future, and I think we're going to see something with, the 9th generation of consoles where. I mean, there are rumblings of secret projects taking place in like a photoreal Westeros, and in my listing, which I've planned a video forever, Mitch, of the top 10 fantasy universes. I have
that'd be a list.
Oh yeah, so The Witcher, Dragon Age, Warcraft, Warhammer, Tolkien, and Game of Thrones, so Song of Ice and Fire. That's 7. There's usually 3 more, like Conan, I think. But always when I think of just breadth and like depth of world building, there's a certain point where the world just gets out of the creator's hands and it literally belongs to the people who have lived there, like yourself, And like Warcraft is definitely going to stick around and become. I think it's still a little bit. We're still not that far off from the movie where people are still building up a little bit after that kind of GAFFE, GAFFE, which I think Final Fantasy went through when they put out Spirits Within back in 2000.
No, never saw it, but that was.
It's okay.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Again, trivia. So from Frasier, if you guys, I don't know if you know that.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So Perry Gilpin, who plays Roz from Frasier, she's in Final Fantasy Spirits Within as like a Marine.
Okay.
One of the main characters. I'm like, anytime I watch just an episode of like this psychiatrist in freaking Seattle drama comedy thing, I'm just like, wait a minute, that lady with the big hair, because everyone had big hair back in the 90s.
Definitely.
Totally in Final Fantasy Spirits Within. So, but also it came out the same year as Shrek, and any movie that came out the same year as Shrek was fated.
It was fated
to fail. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, cool. Right, well, dude, we're going down Reminiscence Avenue. I like this. Memory lane.
Let's go somewhere else. So
yes,
we brought it up earlier, a bit about Star Wars. So like, how much does that mean to you? Like, are you a big fan of Star Wars and that?
I am, and I take it because you're raising it yourself that you are as well.
Very much so. I have a big statue of Darth Vader in my room. So
excellent.
Like overlooking everything the way it should be.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's get it out of the way. And it really doesn't matter because I won't make any prejudgments or anything. But what's your ranking that you can say off the top of your head, or at the very least, what's your favorite?
Favorite's 5.
5. Yeah, same here.
Then I think the prequels is 3, 2, 1. I like 3 out of them the most. And then it's just like, I think it's 4, then 6. And then it's where does the other ones fall? I think 7's probably just above 3. I think 8 is square at the bottom. I think I have to.
We are friends.
I think I have to put it there. And then I think then there's Solo. I liked it. I thought it could be better, and I don't know if that's my favorite past of Han Solo. Who's my favorite Star Wars character, easily. And then Rogue One. That's a hard one because it's got that awesome scene where Vader in that small hallway just tears apart the rebels. Like that puts it really high up, and I don't know where I'd put Rogue One.
I'm gonna put Rogue One for you. I'm just gonna do some surgery right here in your list. I'm gonna put Rogue One just between 6 and 7 for you.
I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good spot for it.
Cool. Well, for myself, it's absolutely Empire Strikes Back because my main engagement with Star Wars is very much through not just like the stories and all that, but really what it means in the context of popular culture and how important popular culture and how pervasive and influential popular culture is to global human psychology, right? And so this is why, to an extent, I was very polarized on Last Jedi, because you have a responsibility, I believe, when creating something on the cultural phenomenon level of Star Wars, because we know that it, very much like Joseph Campbell talked about, it is part of, and he loved, like when in some of these interviews, you'll see, Joseph Campbell, this who ostensibly was one of the main driving factors to why Star Wars was made, and like Lucas cited him quite a bit in when he was talking about how he made Star Wars, and he said he loved certain aspects of Star Wars, and he said it's. I think he used the word. It's perfect. Like he did it. He expressed it, which is, young hero rises up, has mentor figure, goes beyond the threshold. Which I remember he said it was the cantina scene. He's like, oh, that's my favorite scene. I know this tenured professor of mythology who's written like 5 giant tomes, the Masks of God, on the different shapes that different cultures, and he was very much a proponent for. There's no one overruling religion. There's no one belief. It's like the one belief system, if there is one, is the human belief system. It's what's generated from just that pure human core that transcends all cultures and religions and all that. So 5 has to be my favorite because that line, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, is one of the greatest.
What Yoda said, yeah,
ever written. And Ray, my girlfriend, actually, she is a personal, professional, and business like life coach, and it's her favorite too. And it was my favorite before I met her, actually. But when she because she has this insight even deeper than like I have this interest and this engagement in that area of like human behavior, human psychology, and. But when she like verified that, I was like, yeah, that's powerful. And so there's that. So it's weird. Like I'm going to, by the way, I should tell you, I'm going to, and I will never do this again. And I would never have thought to do it until this year. But in about 3 months, I'm going to be in Chicago to see, Star Wars Celebration 2019.
Nice. That's that'd be a dream thing to go to.
Yeah. So I bought the $120 ticket. It was one of the last ones. I bought it for the Friday, which is the heavily rumored date for when people are going to be lining up to see the Episode 9 panel with JJ there and JJ and KK. It'll feel like 2015 all over again, And yeah, Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and Oscar Isaac, and all those folks there. That'll be cool. I'll be spending over 24 hours in line, which is I love. Like, call me weird, but I love waiting, so that's gonna be fun.
I hate waiting
so much. Okay. We have such amazing. We have like iPads and iPhones, and like I love making lists, and it's gonna be fine. And then there's gonna be people in line to make friends with. But so, and you might ask, Mitch, why Albert? Why are you going for this? And for me, I'm going as almost a sense of, and I don't mean to dramatize, because I'm on my channel, you'll see people tuning in. If you do decide to check out Interactive Artistry, I always have these moments of pause where I'm like, by the way, and I'm using emotional language here. I know that like there are so many other things more important than games and movies and such. And I always make sure to keep one foot firmly in like the real world,
Yeah.
But such as it is, like, Mitch and I both grew up with Star Wars, so influential in us. And I'll tell you right now, we're both dudes, and we both we know about how those stories had like fatherhood commentary on like the father-son relationship. I'm sure it informed. I don't even have to say, like, I can already tell that there's always stuff that people take away from Star Wars which helps them, or at least gives context and language to their relationships that they can talk about. And so me going for this for this event is basically like, that's, as they've said, the final Skywalker saga film. And for something so influential on me, that really has informed like my ability to like articulate certain things in my life and give a context. This is what Lucas wanted. He's like, I just want to give, maybe he didn't use the word emotional language, but he used like mythological language and psychological language for what kids are going through with their parents, with deciding whether or not, or with the battle of being a good person versus a bad person and all that stuff. So as a sort of, I'll be in there and I'll just be like, it's not so long Star Wars, because I'll still be paying attention to Star Wars, but something about that period coming to an end, like 1977 to 2019, that's it. That's the Star Wars saga. And we both know, and I love him dearly, John Williams, the music.
Oh, I know John Williams.
It'll be his last last composition. Yeah, his last Star Wars was work with Star Wars. And for me, like, and bless the man, I hope he lives another 700 million years. But I know for a fact that will mean the end of Star Wars as I know it. And again, roll your eyes, look at privileged white hetero freaking first world man having these emotional words about a fantasy thing. But such as it is, to the extent that it is something that I cherish, it'll be a bit of a sad, but also, looking towards the future, because it is changing. Isn't that funny? Something we thought would never really shift. It's like, it'll never shift. I don't believe in. Do you believe in the whole like, my childhood's ruined? I don't believe in that. Do you?
No. Like, what? No. Yeah. Like, I can't ruin the movies and the experiences I had in the past. Like, no matter what they do in the future, like, what my memories have already happened. So they can't really be influenced by like whether how much I love Star Wars now and when I was a kid are different. I don't know, but it just
excellent, dude. Weird. I had to interrupt again because I have to say I don't see it I don't see it everywhere. I always celebrate, especially, and take a moment to say that's excellent. I'm really glad you have that perspective. I like it. I like seeing when people have that sense of perspective, especially, as I mentioned, younger folks, because we old codgers can develop narratives about how like entitled and like instant gratification the young people are. I never had that a second of a thought with yourself, but just as it comes up, it occurs to me to like express my thanks, and it's good. It's good to know. So that's Star Wars for me, man. Extremely important to me and influential, and huge part of my appreciation for art and entertainment in how it can improve just global world psychology, for sure. So how about yourself? What's your kind of deal with Star Wars?
Star Wars it's a series that when I was a kid, like, I loved everything Star Wars. Star Wars Lego, Star Wars books, Star Wars games. Like, even now, I think Star Wars as a whole to me is still, regardless what I feel about the new movies and whatever, it's still probably my favorite overall franchise.
I'd have to agree, dude.
There's nothing that's greater in terms of like how much an impact it made to like why I love sci-fi so much. It's because of Star Wars. Why, all this, like, why I love video games. Like, Star Wars video games are really good, and they really helped me appreciate it more and exploring that. I loved building my Star Wars Lego as a kid. Like, I had X-Wings and TIE Fighters and all that. And AT-AT, that was my favorite one.
Yeah. I genuinely believe it goes beyond any company that will ever own it. Even after Disney, if they ever lose the rights, for me, it's like it's a force of nature, which also gives me solace because, as I mentioned, after a certain time, the thing is handed to the people. The work, the mythology, just like how you can't say Maori mythology or Japanese mythology or Indonesian mythology. It doesn't belong to any one group of Indonesians or Japanese people or Maori. It belongs to the whole culture. And I think because Star Wars is a global myth, or a galactic myth almost, I think it belongs to everyone. It's so funny. There's always a troubled. You look at any of the Greek myths, like look at Zeus. He was a troubled creator, and Lucas is a troubled creator, and we have a lot of the time troubled creators. But that's just the creator. That's how it came to be. But when you think about the thing as it exists as this timeless reflection of human psychology and all these interconnected myths, despite cultures and transcending all languages and religions, like, it's fucking powerful, man. So awesome. For sure. Yeah. I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah, like, it came out in 1977, like, didn't exist then. Like, neither of us existed. But, like, it's something that goes generation to generation. Like, my dad saw it when he was young. He really liked it. I saw it when I was young. I really liked it. My cousin, who's 10, saw it, really likes it. So, like, it's just gonna, like, go on forever. Like, how many people love Star Wars? And I just think...
Okay, Mitch, you don't have to ask me. Okay, I'll do a Star Wars podcast with you. Jesus.
There we go. Was that so hard? God, we got you there in the end, but, like, took a while.
Anytime, dude. I'm here. I'll show up for that anytime if you guys want to do another little sub podcast on the channel. Easy peasy. I'm there for it.
All right. Well, we need to somehow get this video to the end, I think. So let's start pushing on to, like, back to video games. This is a video game channel.
Yes.
Every now and then it's not.
That's okay. Two things I'll say, just so we have a smoother transition. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, first glimpse / potential release this year. It's going to be fantastic. People don't know what's going to hit them, because I'm telling you, like, Respawn, the guys who do Titanfall, oof, just watch out for them. We're really going to be hit in the face by what this thing's going to be. Set during the Dark Ages or the Dark Times.
Yeah, I did like a top 5 video. Like this is number 5 because they didn't show us anything. But like going on what they've said and going on Respawn's past, like this is I'm trying to get away from Star Wars, but now you got me talking about Titanfall 2.
Yeah,
that had
that's okay.
An incredible campaign that throughout its 5 hours, I just loved every single second of that game. Like 100% of it. I did hardest difficulty, collected everything. Like,
excellent.
And then to hear them that they're doing a Star Wars game was like, whoa.
Brilliant.
Whoa.
Brilliant. And then you have... Oh, yeah, no, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's where it's set, like the Dark Times, or as I keep calling it, like Vader hunting down the Jedi. Like, he's going to be absolutely terrifying. And I'm so excited for this game. Like,
yes.
I just want to see it. Like, no matter what EA has done in the past, I'm still excited for this game. Like, you know.
Excellent. If you do a playthrough, I'll happily co-commentate with you. It'll be fun.
Definitely do want to play through that. Like, I will highlight that game so much. So, which actually leads me on perfectly to like, I want to talk about 2019. I want to talk about the games that are coming out this year. Just real quick, like, what is the game you're excited for most? I know we've hinted at it a couple times of like mentioning certain games like Sekiro and Kingdom Hearts and all sorts of things. What is the one that like, I know like ones we've seen, like that, like excluding Fallen Order and stuff like that. Okay.
To tell you how much I do, as I mentioned, create lists as...
I love making lists. Lists are great.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. I'm not going to look at any, just to kind of highlight for you. I have so much memorized already. So I think this will help me. If you'll bear with me, I will mention one for each of the months that we know, and then I'll mention a few that... it'll help me if you
if that helps you get it through. I'll let you do it.
Yeah. If you'll humor me. So we obviously have. Well, you know what? In the spirit of you asking the question, I'll try, and then I'll see if I'll like throw a few titles in there. I think. So that's confirmed for 2019. Sekiro just screams to mind.
Yeah, screaming. It doesn't be quiet. Like, I keep telling it to shut up, but it's just screaming.
Screaming all night. Please, yes, I realize you're out in like under 100 days. You know, I can't wait for that. So Sekiro, for the reason that, you know, there was a period where I was just so. I actually met Vati Vidya, by the way, one of our fellow guy. Yeah, I went to. There's a Patreon thing that I sort of put my hand up for, and it's on my Twitter. Actually, I snapped a photo with him. He's cool, really, such an amazing work ethic, that guy, and he's really again locked into his groove and into what he does, to the point of being quite influential. Actually, I think I mentioned the Souls digital archaeology community, you know, and curatorship community. Yeah. So he's great, and so that whole period where I was like diving into Miyazaki's psychology and found it very much a kindred spirit. He's on the more extreme end of introversion. He won't actually allow himself to be recorded audio or video, but he's such a personable dude, and for a recluse, for an introvert, like he knows how to talk about his games, and I
mean, he's leading teams and everything, like
and he's the president. No big deal.
He's the president, like
freaking president
out of nowhere, really, because he like took up Demon Souls because he saw it as an opportunity and went from there.
That's right. So then here we go. You ready, Mitch? We're talking Oddworld Soulstorm, which was hugely. I was massively influenced. Look at my tattoos here. Yeah. So. A mixture of these are all my own designs. They're based on naturally occurring patterns like coral reef and like twigs and branches and that kind of abstract, kind of chaotic nature shapes. But yeah, you know, the Mudokan's like tattoos massively like hit me in right here. Love them. And like there's even, you know, there's the how he gets the marking, the Mudokan marking in that. So I sort of later in my sort of tattoo design times, I sort of adapted a bit of that into like my own sort of self-created myth, which called the Quantum Myth, and I'll be developing that when Quantic Dreams, not Quantic Dreams, and when Media Molecule release their Dreams suite. I've just been building this material of like self-created mythology stuff.
Dreams is going to be interesting.
That's going to be interesting. But then I have Vane, which is, I can't wait, in a few weeks. It's going to be so good. Friend and Foe, ex-developers of The Last Guardian. Really one to look out for. Beautiful, exploratory, pulling a bit from like Journey and Rhyme, you know, those titles there. And then Then you have Sea of Solitude, which looks great from the EA sort of independence kind of division.
They showed that off at the press conference last year.
Indeed. So those are a handful. And then what I would love is, you know what? I would love to get a release date for Death Stranding. That would be great. And I would love to see a reveal of the new Fumito Ueda game. But can I be honest? Like, I'm so fucking excited for PS5. Can you feel that? Do you remember the lead up to a console release?
I love new consoles. I love new tech.
It's so good. It's so exciting.
Everyone's excited. Like, all the like badness and stuff is just gone. Like, everyone's just looking forward to what's next.
So good. So December December this year, you guys will be at 100K subscribers. I know it. Don't jinx it. I'm telling you. Shut up. Wait.
Yes, I believe we'll have that many subscribers.
Indeed. And then what I would love to see again is, and again, no expectations or entitlement. It just would be great to see something from the Star Wars EA Vancouver, which was, Amy Hennig's project got converted. So to see what that is. And honestly, Mitch, at this point, if they're not making a Red Dead Redemption 2, but in the Star Wars universe, EA may as well just pack up and just forget it, because they will have proven to be to the foremost degree tone deaf to what people want, and so the whole world is screaming for this, and I'm not screaming. I'm just this would be great, and you should do this because it would be great. Something of the level of artistry and photorealism of imagine that, Mitch. You're self-created character, very much like Arthur Morgan. You can still do something where people have this personalization options with Geralt as well, and I believe. Yeah, go ahead.
You're saying my dream game, honestly.
That's it.
Star Wars universe game where you Knights of the Republic got close, but I feel this the modern age can really push forward that you're in a Star Wars universe.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
So I hope they do that, and I hope EA Vancouver can pull that. But then, all right, I'll stop after this one. So if we see even one glimpse from the Ubisoft Massive, the guys who make The Division, they're creating a title for Avatar.
I heard about that.
Yeah. James Cameron is all on board, and he's got funding up that. Well, I mean, he's the man with the funding, highest grossing film in history, still to this day.
Still this day. Avengers didn't knock it. Star Wars hasn't knocked it.
Nope. Exactly. So, and from what we've seen and what we've heard, it's going to be a very much doing what the film itself alludes to, which is the idea of entering another world as an avatar and then permanently living there. So it won't have something which is, I think, during the Matrix times, there was a PC game where it was The Matrix, and it was a cool idea, but the tech wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the idea is when you logged in, you were in the Matrix. I was that's the perfect idea, but the execution wasn't there. So I don't think they're going to do that where it's every time you log out of the game, you're getting out of a capsule. I think you log on and you have an alternate life on Pandora as a Navi. And I think with ILM's direct support, with Lightstorm's involvement, using the assets with fucking PS5 graphics. Do you understand, Mitch? Oh my god,
I get it. I get it. It's gonna look so good.
I'm glad I'm sitting down. Okay. When you get to my age, you got to watch yourself. The old heart, get the old heart racing. So that's it. So, but I will say Sekiro in terms of a dated thing. Oh, and shout out to fucking Psychonauts 2. Cannot wait.
Yeah, should be out this year too, but
there you go.
Possibly. Yeah, for me, it is Sekiro. It's Fallen Jedi. We went through those two. But Sekiro looks like it's going to be really difficult. And it looks like it's going to... I'm curious what they do in a game set in, Japan. It's a country they're all from. That's where FromSoft is from. I want to see how they do, their culture and, their game. Because, I mean, Bloodborne, that wasn't their thing. But, they pretty much nailed that kind of gothic horror, Victorian era look. And
that was Edinburgh meets Prague meets cobblestone Bram Stoker amazingness, and then straight into Lovecraft. Oof, so good.
It's just perfection. So seeing their next project, it's always gonna be exciting. If I see the From Software logo, I'm immediately excited. Just need that logo to pop up, and then I'm just hyped.
Yeah, and Mitch, the cojones the cojones on these people to make a feudal Japan set game when you've got Neo 2 coming out, and you've got Ghost of Tsushima on the horizon soon. I'm telling you, this is Miyazaki at the height of his like, oh, you think you guys are gonna?
Oh, you think you're the master?
You think you're the master? Let me tell you something. I saw that creature, dude, and I cannot even handle it. And when I saw the recent Game Informer coverage, which all of you listeners should be on Game Informer, gameinformer.com/Sekiro is where the hub is, and you can wait. Like it's like an advent calendar throughout the month.
I need to get onto that because I haven't actually watched anything of it yet.
Do it. gameinformer.com/Sekiro.
Good old Game Informer.
Calendar style releases. And Miyazaki said his favorite creature so far is the giant monkey.
Oh, that giant monkey, yeah.
Oh, it had, I don't know if you read Hellboy, but there's this character called Ben Daimyo.
No, I
don't. Well, are you planning on reading the Hellboy, or can I just tell?
You can just, spoiler alert, if you wanted to watch Hellboy.
Okay, I'll do a spoiler alert.
Read it.
Okay, spoiler alert.
There's a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a movie coming out in April, which I can't wait. And this character will be in that movie. And so he has this thing where he has this big wound on the side of his face, and it rips out one side of his mouth. It was almost down to his neck. And this creature is the most gnarly fucking Miyazaki ass looking thing, because it is, you know how Miyazaki's, I'm sorry, Mitch, because I'm getting fired up right now because I'm a draftsman, let's say, if I'm not a full-blown artist. I know about character design to a degree. The bosses of Bloodborne, I just come at me right now. There is no menagerie of like bosses that is more instantly differentiable from each other silhouette wise, like fucking Dark Beast Parl. Then you have, the Ebrietas, the cleric beast is basically, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most iconic boss designs of all time.
It's also very scary to get jumped on by.
Extremely. And then the freaking Murgo's wet nurse with the freaking blades.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, come at me. I will fight anyone in the comments. Come at me. Do it. Yeah. To challenge me about can you name it? Can you challenge me, Mitch? Is there any other game with as wide a variety?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So.
That's from
Dark Souls is very they're all knights and they do have some stuff, but Bloodborne bosses look different to anything else. You got the the thing with the many legs, Amygdala.
Yeah, Amygdala. Yeah, the Amygdala. Incredible.
Just seeing them crawling on buildings and stuff, and going for that platinum trophy, you have to fight a really difficult one.
That's right. And so they were working within, there's some Cthulhu, but then there was some just stuff purely unique as well. And so what I think, and here's the thing, this is what gives me hope for Sekiro. So Bloodborne was not an experiment because they'd had a pretty practiced hand at making games, in that genre. And so... Absolutely. And Sekiro has this mobility aspect, this exploration aspect, which I can't wait because I'm a Zelda kid, like I'm sure you are with the Nintendo. And it looks like it's going to reward all of this, omnidirectional exploration. There's cliff sides and you can
rooftops. You can.
Yes. Yeah. The Game Informer guys were talking about making leaps of faith into open air where at the very at the arc of the parabola of your jump, that is the exact moment when a grapple hook option will appear, and you have to make these leaps of faith to discover brand new areas. It's people are going to have so much fun with that, to discover little sculptors' idols, shrines.
Speed runs are going to be incredibly crazy.
So good. And so what gives me hope for that is, yes, you had the Gothic setting, and a less competent and a less ambitious and creative creator would have been giant vampire, giant werewolf, a thing with tentacles that kind of looks like Cthulhu. Yeah, Cthulhu-esque. And it would have been half-assed. What I love so much is that genuinely the way that Miyazaki made the Victorian setting his own is peerless. Definitely. And that wasn't even his own native mythology. And he grew up with Japanese mythology, living in Japan. And I've even seen some things where there's an anime, I think it's called Dororo, so Dororo, and it's 1960s animation about, you just look it up, it's basically like Sekiro the prequel, and I can just see a young Miyazaki sitting down cross-legged in front of this thing and being like, oh, look at that demon hunter whose arm comes off prosthetic, like a prosthetic that has and you just look at there's even a scene that talks about a sculptor and these sculptors' idols and this is the old 1960s thing. And someone I posted to Reddit once. It was like, what was it? Tolkien. Dororo is to Sekiro what Lovecraft is to Bloodborne, and what Berserk is to Dark Souls. And that was huge, and got a bunch of upvotes, and just reflective of people being like, wow, this is huge. So this is his home turf. If we've seen him do so well outside of his outside of his
stuff, now he's going into his own thing.
We're going to tap into like childhood Sekiro. This is Miyazaki, like building on things that maybe because he had this thing he talked about with making Bloodborne, that he tried to read books that weren't in his own native language, that he tried to read English books that he had to kind of, fill in the gaps with his own imagination. So then now you're talking about something where he knows the language, he knows the culture, and it's going to be like he's not one to sit on his laurels. He's giving himself the challenge of like, I know you've seen Japanese mythology. I know you've seen Neo. I know you've seen like 47 Ronin or whatever. You've seen pretty contemporary depictions of these creatures. But dude, I so desperately want to spoil this one creature. I want you to come across it on your own in Game Informer, but they describe these creatures from that you'll encounter, and it's like not a huge spoiler, and I was like, and I almost felt like clapping. I was like, that's fucking Miyazaki. That's that twisted mind that I know. And we haven't seen anything yet. We've only seen like a bit of feudal set, like just that basic kind of.
He's hiding so much.
He's hiding so much. It was like the first few shots of Bloodborne we saw only Central Yharnam. Dude, look how much more to there is Bloodborne than Central Yharnam.
Yeah. That's only a tiny bit. You're like, whoa, is this going to be the entire game? And it's like, no, not even close. What are you talking about?
And exactly. And knowing Miyazaki, he loves his DLC, so
which is so good.
It's going to be
more
so
of it.
Good,
like
so.
Bloodborne's DLC was phenomenal. Dark Souls 3 DLC, I could talk about that for a while, because certain boss in that. Certain dragon.
Absolutely. Looks like we're Sekiro brothers, Mitch. That's what happened just now. We figured out that's our most anticipated, both of us.
Definitely. So now we can end the show.
Yeah. I think we've been on. I don't see a counter on my end. How long have we been on?
1 hour. This is probably one of the longest straight up things we've recorded here at Optional Extra.
It's been cool. Yeah, it flowed pretty naturally, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess thanks for coming. Because coming on the show. And,
you're welcome. You're just kicking me out. Is that it? I'm kidding.
Get out of here, damn it. You're speaking too much. But
it's all good.
Thanks everyone who tuned in and watched it. It means a whole lot. Even just a view, however long you watched it. Don't know if you've made it here, but thanks anyway. And hopefully we'll see each and every one of you again. Goodbye.
Take it easy.
Once there was an explosion. A bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion.